Shalom, family. I hope everybody had a great Shabbat yesterday, as we all should have. That's the day that the Most High gave us to set everything aside and get us some rest and be in His Word. Family, today I'm going to talk about something that we never even took the time to think about, the spiritual implications of the verse we'll be discussing, and that'll be the 23rd Psalms. Particularly, we're going to kind of focus on the rod and staff. Now, I know many of us know the 23rd Psalm by heart. You know, we read it many times. But is that all we did was read it? Okay, without thinking about just how spiritual that was when David wrote it. And it applies then and today, even more so today. You know, as we continue to go through the beginning of all these tribulations and things, it applies even more today. So we're just going to take a look at the rod and the staff mentioned in the 23rd Psalms. As you know, family, we are like sheep, and the Most High is our shepherd. And as with the animal sheep, they have to have a shepherd, or they would wander into great danger, because they're not a defensive animal. They can't fight. So any of the wolves out there or other beasts would just attack them and kill them. And so, like sheep, sometimes we get naive and we'll stumble into situations to where the Most High has to get us out of it. So the shepherd carries two items. He has a rod, which is about maybe a little over 2 feet long, and he has a staff, which looks sort of like a cane, a pole with a hook on it. All right? And so that rod is used to kind of nudge the sheep back in line when they, begin to try to stray. It's not used for physical force on me. He don't beat them with it, but he takes that rod and kind of, firmly nudge them back in line. Okay? And if one gets in grave danger, that hook on the end of the staff, he places it around their neck and pull them back, to safety. And it's pretty much the way the Most High's rod and staff works. His word, kind of, when we start trying to stray, nudges us back into the fold, of righteousness, of living righteousness. And if we get into grave danger, then he has to use his staff, to just pull us back in line. Okay. That rod that the shepherds used not only was used to kind of control the sheep, get them back in line, it was also used to count them. See, and we'll find that out, that's in Leviticus. But whenever the shepherds counted their sheep, he had them to pass under the rod. And As they pass under the rod, he would count them. He would use that rod to flip their ear up, because most shepherds mark their sheep on the ear. Since a lot of different herds of sheep were sometimes mixed together, that's how he would identify what's his. Okay? And he would always sometimes use that rod to go against the grain of their wool so he can see their skin, to see if their skin is okay or if they got some kind of disease or whatever. Okay. So it had many different uses, and all shepherds carried them. Okay. We're just like the sheep family. We depend on the Most High to lead us and guide us. Okay. And sometimes some of us go astray, and he has to use the rod of correction to bring you back. And the rod of correction is the Most High's word. Okay. So let's just read maybe Psalms 23. We'll just go from 1 to 4. And like I say, many of us don't even have to look it up. We know it by heart. We read it so many times, but did we actually pay attention to it? Okay. The Most High is my shepherd. I shall not want. He maketh me to lie down in green pastures. He leadeth me beside the still waters. He restored my soul. He leadeth me in the path of righteousness for his name's sake. Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for thou art with me. Thy rod and thy staff, they comfort me. See, we are comforted by the Most High's rod of protection and his guidance. Okay? And just like the sheep, we often get in trouble, or maybe just stray just a little bit. And so the Most High is there to kind of pull you back in line. All right? Now, anyone that the Most High has to correct, he corrects them out of love, because he chastens the one that he loves. But after correction, if you continue to want to live outside the Most High's laws, then he just give you over, to a reprobate mind. I mean, you're on your own. You do what you want, and it leads to your destruction. So the staff, in Psalms 23rd Psalm, it's just a symbol of the Most High's guidance and his love for his sheep. Let's see if we can, we'll just read some verses concerning this, and we'll better understand Psalms 23, because it's very powerful if you stop and really think about it. In the verse where it says, yea, though I walk through the valley of shadow of death. Family, we're walking in the valley of the shadow of death as we speak. Death surrounds us in every form imaginable. The water is no good. The food is no good, which can cause death. We have famines coming upon the earth, which could lead to death. We have pestilence. We have earthquakes. All these things are, related to death. They're all deadly and can lead to death. We're surrounded by them. any way that you want to take to avoid it, it seems like the wicked of this world has covered all the bases. You know, restricted travel. You know, it's just all kind of things. We're just walking in the valley of the shadow of death now. And the scripture said, we will fear no evil. Okay? Because we know that we are the Most High sheep. And like a shepherd, the shepherd is going to protect those sheep. Those shepherds had to battle off wolves, you know, lions and other things to protect those sheep. And if one sheep were to go astray, he'd put the 99 up where they're safe, and he goes out and look for that one. See, the Most High don't want for any of us to get lost or go astray. So he'll leave the 99 to go after that one. Okay? Let's read Luke chapter 15, verse 3 through 7. And he spake this parable unto them, saying, What man of you, having 100 sheep, if he lose one of them, does he not leave the 99 in the wilderness and go after that which is lost until he find it? Verse 5, and when he has found it, he laid it on his shoulders, rejoicing. And when he comes home, he called together his friends and neighbors, saying unto them, Rejoice with me, for I have found my sheep which was lost. For I say unto you, that likewise joy shall be in heaven over one sinner that repents, more than over the 99, which need no repentance. You know, it just goes back to a statement Mashiach made. You know, he said only the sick need a physician. So he comes after the ones who are lost and have no understanding, you know, of the word. That's, you know, he came to save when they were criticizing because he was sitting at the table with sinners. He said, well, only the sick is the one need a doctor. You know, those who believe and follow me, I mean, they don't need a doctor. John chapter 10, verse 1 through 5. Verily I say unto you, he that entereth not by the door into the sheepfold, but climbs up some other way, the same is a thief and a robber. You know, the only way to enter into the sheepfold is through the door, and that door is Mashiach. So if you try to get in any other way, you're the same as a thief. Verse 2, but he that entereth in by the door is the shepherd of the sheep. To him the porter opens, and the sheep hear his voice, and he calleth his own sheep by name, and leadeth them out. And when he put forth his own sheep, he goes before them, and the sheep follow him, for they know his voice. And a stranger will they not follow, but will flee from him, for they know not the voice of strangers. Family, that is a very true statement. Now, at the end of this video, down in the description box, I put a short video clip in there about a shepherd and his sheep. And he had 3 or 4 people use the same words that he uses to try and get the sheep to come to them, and they would not budge. So after they tried, he called to them using the same words. No sheep raised their head up and start walking to him. So, like sheep, we only hear the master's voice. Okay? At least that's all we should be hearing, and not follow another voice. We can't be following the voice of the Antichrist and the false prophets. We should know his voice. In other words, we should know the word that we know that is not our shepherd calling us, but a fake one. This is why in the 24th chapter of Matthew, he said, if they say he's over here or he's in the mountains or in the desert, he said, do not go. See? Because we supposed to know the Most High. We supposed to know Mashiach, and so we shouldn't be fooled and led by somebody else. Okay, the sheep know his voice. Definitely. If we're who we say we are, if we're in the word, we believe, we follow the examples of Mashiach, we shouldn't be led astray by anybody, shouldn't be fooled. When that man of sin comes upon the earth to deceive the whole world. Okay? It even goes further to say, if it was possible, he would even fool the elect. So we have to stay on our P's and Q's, family. and obey only the voice of our shepherd. Let's see. Ezekiel chapter 34, verse 7 through 16. Therefore, ye shepherds, hear the word of the Most High. As I live, saith the Most High, surely because my flock became a prey, and my flock became meat to every beast of the field, because there was no shepherd. Neither did my shepherds search for my flock, but the shepherds fed themselves, and fed not my flock. We're talking about these false teachers and hypocrites, who they're not real shepherds. They're hirelings. Verse 9, therefore, O you shepherds, hear the word of the Most High. Thus said the Most High Elohim, behold, I am against the shepherds, and I will require my flock at their hand, and cause them to cease from feeding the flock. Neither shall the shepherds feed themselves anymore, for I will deliver my flock from their mouth, that they may not be meat for them. See, these people are faking to be teachers and all that stuff, and they merchandising the people, and they feeding themselves, at the expense of the Most High's flock. And he said he's going to put a stop to that. Verse 10. Thus said the Most High. No, I read 10, didn't I? Verse 11. For thus said the Most High Elohim, behold, I, even I, will both search my sheep and seek them out, as a shepherd seeketh out his flock in the day that he is among his sheep that are scattered. So will I seek out my sheep, and will deliver them out of places where they have been scattered in the cloudy and dark day. And I will bring them out from the people, and gather them from the countries, and will bring them to their own land, and feed them upon the mountains of Israel by the rivers, and in all the inhabited places of the country. I will feed them in a good pasture, and upon the high mountains of Israel shall their fold be. There shall they be in a good fold, and in a fat pasture, which they feed upon the mountains of Israel. I will feed my flock, and I will cause them to lie down, saith the Most High Elohim. I will seek that which was lost, and bring again that which was driven away. And I will bind up that which was broken, and I will strengthen that which was sick. but I will destroy the fat and the strong. I will feed them with judgment. See, all the fat, he's talking about the fat, those people who falsify the Most High's word, teach their own doctrine, hustling the children, they're going to be judged. Definitely going to be judged. So let's read Ezekiel 20 and 37. I believe that'll be far enough. This is when we are back in the wilderness. Verse 37. I will cause you to pass under the rod, and I will bring you into the bond of the covenant. Okay? See, there's the rod again. Just like the shepherds would, when they're wanting to count their sheep, when they're wanting to identify the sheep that they own, they had them pass under the rod. And like I say, they would examine the sheep, one at a time with that rod. They would flick his ear up and see if they were his, and just check them out. And so when the Most High said that he's going to cause us to pass under the rod, that's to see who's his. See? Same thing. See, he's going to examine us closely. We got to pass under that rod. See who's just lip service and who's faking it or trying to fake it. You can't fake nothing with the Most High. But we're going to pass under the rod. So just like the shepherds, we marked with his mark. And that's the word of the Most High. See? That's what he's looking for when we pass under the rod. And what he say he's going to do with the rebels. Those who just won't obey. He's going to purge them out. So, in the same way that the shepherd had his sheep pass under the rod to make sure they were his and that they were physically okay, well, the Most High is going to have us pass under the rod too when we are back in the wilderness. See, it's not going to be no cakewalk. He just come and everybody go straight into the kingdom or into the land that we, just as our forefathers had to go into the wilderness first, so shall we. This is what Ezekiel tells you. Okay? We can look at Leviticus chapter 27 and verse 32, and we'll see, about, the rod. Verse 32, and concerning the tithe of the herd or of the flock, even of whatsoever passeth under the rod, the 10th shall be holy unto the Most High. See, those sheep had to be lined up and pass under the rod, And when it was time to tithe, every 10th sheep that went under the rod that was in perfect health, that one belonged to the Most High. Okay? But it had to be a perfect one. It couldn't be no sheep with no blemishes and deformed or nothing like that. This is why the shepherds used the rod to kind of go against the grain of their wool to make sure they didn't have no type of skin disease or nothing like that. And they, kind of flipped their ear up and made sure that it was one of theirs. And so the Most High is going to do the same thing. Like I say, we're like sheep, family. And we're going to have to pass under the rod. And at times, as sheep, the Most High has to prod us back, when we kind of stray off a little bit, And That is the loving kindness the Most High has for his people. He don't want to see any of us fail. So those who he loves, he chastens them. He may allow something come into your life that won't kill you, but remind you, that you're doing this wrong. You strayed from the word, so he uses the word to, whatever event to snatch you back into in the line. Now, if you one of them people, no matter how many times the Most High try to correct you and you just hell bent on doing wrong, then what does he do? He just gives you over. You now become an illegitimate son or daughter to him. He just lets you go on in your own way. And we know what that leads to. Total destruction. It be physically and spiritually. Okay? So, when we reading some of these scriptures, we need to stop and think on them sometime and not just read the words. I mean, the words sound okay, but we need to break that down and just apply it. Just see just how big of an analogy it is for us. Not just literal sheep, but us, because we are sheep. We are definitely sheep of the Most High. Okay, he is our shepherd. So, I just wanted us to take a minute and kind of look at that rod and staff and see just how it applies to us and the Most High. What it says here. Matthew 15:24. Mashiach answered and said, I was not sent except to the lost who? The lost sheep of Israel. See, we're referred to as sheep. Like I said, some of us display the same characteristics. We wander off, and get ourselves in a little danger, because like sheep, they're naive. They don't think nothing out there thinking something gonna happen to them. They just wander off and eventually get into trouble if it don't be for the shepherd there to protect them from the wolves, and the beast. Well, that's what the Most High does. He tried to protect us from the wolves of this day. We have wolves even in the ministries. They're wolves in sheep clothing. See? So, that's what Psalms 23 said, Thy rod and staff protects me. Yea, though I walk through the valley of shadow of death. Well, I guarantee you, family, if we not walking in the shadow of death right now, I don't know what we in. Because it's all around us in every form imaginable. Water, food, famine, pestilence, in the air. It's hard to escape it. And if it don't be for the Most High being our shepherd and taking care of us, we'd all perish. See? It's very likely, family, that some of the food and water we drink, if we wasn't the Most High, it would probably harm us. But being his sheep, he makes those things of no effect. And that's not to say go get careless and just eat anything and, don't try to eat the best food you can. But if you unintentionally ate something that was fooled with, shall I say, by man, then, the Most High, he's going to look after his sheep, family. You know, that's just it. You know, sheep are just, they're independent. I mean, they're not independent creatures. They have to have a shepherd. You know, they're not strong. You know, uh, they're not survivors. You know, so they have to have a shepherd. You know, so next time you read Psalms 23, just think on it. Just think on it, because it still applies to us this very day. You know, the Most High's rod and his staff comforts us. Therefore, we will fear no evil. And we know, family, today evil is all around us. You can't go north, south, east, or west to avoid it. It's just what it is. The advantage we got is we got a shepherd. You know, we got Yahuwah as a shepherd to lead us, guide us, and protect us and correct us. Okay? Okay, family, that's about all I wanted to say on that subject. And I hope you really think about that, family. And keep that in mind, especially in the things that we're going through today. And with that, family, I say shalom.